Hello everyone, this is Elizabeth from the Marathon City Branch Library. I'd like to recommend a good book to you today. It's called The Little Gentleman by Philippa Pearce. Those of you interested in animal stories may be familiar with The Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Grahame, about a certain adventurous mole who goes up the river with his friend Rat. The Little Gentleman is another story about a mole, this one an unbelievably ancient mole significant to British history. A long time ago he was enchanted by witchcraft, which made him able to talk and live longer than his normal lifespan. In the present day he meets Bet, a girl in need of a friend, and she grants his most fervent wish to rid him of the enchantment so that he can live a normal mole life. Bet shows respect to all living creatures and speaks to the mole as her equal, mammal to mammal. Using his magic, the mole turns Bet small enough to enter his tunnels so that she can experience his chthonic, or underground, world. Here's an excerpt from chapter 15, which is called Chthonic. She had an overwhelming, dizzy, headachy feeling, and above all she felt afraid of everything so unexpectedly big and threatening, and her own self so small and so defenseless. The mole's voice, on a level with her ear, was comforting. "The sooner we are down below, the better it will be for you. Follow me." He made for his tunnel mouth, and Bet forced herself to follow him, scurrying through the grasses like the unlikely, terrified little creature she was. "Follow!" and the mole was disappearing down his hole. Bet took a deep breath and followed, dropping on hands and knees as she did so. For a very short time, daylight still reached them, then all was darkness. The mole had been right. Once below ground and in the dark, the headachy feeling and the fear left her. Always just ahead of her she heard the mole's voice. "Follow!" She was aware that she had become mole-like in more than size only. She had entered the mole's passageway on hands and knees, but that seemed to change. It was easier and faster to go on all fours, like any other four-footed animal, large or small. And the darkness. She was not sure whether the darkness around her was something she saw or something that was there because her eyes were shut. She was not sure about her eyes. She tried to touch an eye but could not find it. Without alarm she wondered whether her eyes were now furred over. She was not certain whether she was a girl or partly mole, most likely, perhaps, both at once. She found that she did not mind in the least. "Follow," said the mole. The floor of the tunnel still sloped down, down. She followed, but she was often lingering like a traveler in a strange land, wanting to miss nothing. The layers of curious smells, none of them offensive to a girl who was also part mole. The heavy silence, and then the minute sounds of movement, the feel of the earth above, below, around. They were now certainly much deeper underground than they had been before. She had dawdled, and suddenly she was no longer aware of the mole ahead. That friendliness had gone. She seemed to have entered, or had it come up around her? A kind of hollow, booming, blacker than blackness that now filled the tunnel from side to side, from floor to top. It was like a huge wave, a high tide, an ocean that flowed around her and through her. If this sounds like a book you'd enjoy reading, you can check it out at the library, or keep it in mind for later. Other animal stories that I've enjoyed are The Mouse of Amherst by Elizabeth Spires, Harriet's Hare by Dick King-Smith, and Redwall by Brian Jakes. Thank you for listening, and remember to take some time to read something you enjoyed today.